Okay, I've got still 5:29 on my iPad, so I believe it's still 5:30. 5:30, okay. Our chair, Mike Daisy, is going to be a little bit late, he doesn't know how late, so he asked me to take over until he gets here. That's why I'm sitting in the chair again. It's called to order. This meeting of December 14th of the Parks and Rec. Hi. What do I have to say here? That please note that this meeting is being broadcast and recorded. Recordings will be made available on town's YouTube channel. Anybody having a pecuniary interest, please declare it at the appropriate time. Have any delegations? We do. They're sitting here, aren't they? Yep. We'll address. Okay. That the regular Parks and Recreation Committee meeting minutes be adopted by the committee, and that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the protections provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy. In the meeting of October 19th, 2023 regular meeting. I need a mover. And Alex. Any questions about the minutes? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Now I'm supposed to do this. Business arising from previous meetings. Mr. Little, it looks like your name's on the agenda here.
Yes, it's just a little bit of update from the task sheet and stuff that we've been working on throughout the year. It's an ongoing work order, basically, but we're slowly catching up. Got a lot of the stuff done other than some vegetation control, tree cutting and sunset. It's not complete yet. Hopefully this kind of stuff will be done in the fall. We just recently completed the lakeshore wooden ramp removal and put in the new structure in its place to protect the kids from falling.
Which is where?
At Lakeshore Park.
Lakeshore Park, okay.
It's on the list.
Well, thank you for the update. Anyone have any questions? Mr. Little? Or Mr. Little, not from. I don't want him talking anymore than these. Hey, the next order of business is the accounts, so that the accounts as listed be received by the Parks and Rec Committee, the October payables and the November payables. Could have a mover. Mike and seconder. Any questions on any of those accounts? Well, I had some. Well,
I had one.
let's go ahead.
The sewer and water for McKay Park. Splash pad. Over 57, 90, 79. Is that for the entire year? It's on the accounts and stuff.
No, that would be for just the September.
Just September.
There's a lot of.
I noticed them on the previous accounts.
So did you want to shut it off and?
I was just curious.
Al, when did we shut down the splash pad officially this year?
It was officially shut down right after Thanksgiving weekend. It wasn't used for the last month or so, but Thanksgiving weekends when we officially shut it off.
Any other questions? Anyone else? Okay, I have a couple. So we have Washington pool closing, winterizing. And then we have them in November, rainforest, and rising, oh, that's the sprinkler system. Okay. Okay, I'm answering my own questions. And then we have Sarnia Plumbing rising again. How often do you memorize this thing? These things?
Each contractor does a different task. Sarnia Plumbing and stuff will go in and they'll put the REV antifreeze through in the toilets, disconnect the fountains, that sort of thing at the parks. We have Rainforest comes in and blows out the sprinkler systems and make sure there's no water left in the freeze, and then the water pool does our full winterizing on the pool. So they each have their own little job that we bring them in for.
One company can't come in and do the whole works?
They don't. They don't.
Thank you.
Did some further research in regard to maybe another complex question. That is for the whole year.
It's been a whole year.
Yes.
Okay, so, has everyone, oh, Dana?
Just one here, the wood chips for Nettie's Way and Maple Parks, it's $8,000, like,
Yeah, they're engineered wood chips. We have to buy them, that's specialty wood chips for play surfaces, so there's no slivers.
you can't just go and use your
We can't
own
use our own standard wood. No, They're,
above that.
they've been tumbled and stuff, and the special wood that they use to keep the slivers and stuff off the kids.
Okay. It's a lot of gas.
They're actually specifically engineered so they don't harden like a standard wood chip would. So they provide a lower impact surface, and that's recommended by our insurance companies that will play. And there is actually legislation that dictates how soft the surface can be. It has to be impact resistant to a set level, and the depth has to be to a set level. So
How long has that been?
it's been moved into place recently, mostly through insurance companies and through lawsuits.
You know, because I never seen it before and I just.
It's not provincial legislation, it's more of best practices, but however, if you don't follow the best practice and someone were to become injured, you do put yourself at risk of liability.
Okay.
So, is everyone in favor? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Sorry. You see that we've got Sarnia Plumbing marked for the Wyoming pool washroom winterizing. And further down the line, second from the bottom, it says water sewer. Wyoming pool winterizing for $8,882.
Somebody maybe want to answer Dean's question?
Legit that it cost $8,800 to.
That's water, that's a water sewer. I don't have any answer on the $8,000 one.
Fourth from the bottom.
Page 11, 46. 46.
The November or October payables.
Shows December actually, but
It's just November.
Like that.
That shouldn't be winterizing. That's a mistype. That is the water and sewer for the pool for the entire year. So it's nothing to do with winterization. That's the year-end account.
thank you.
So we scratch off that winterizing word on there.
Yes, please.
A lot anyway. Any other questions that you would like to clarify? How about our chair who came in? Like to ask any questions, sir?
No, you asked about the wood chips. You asked about the winterizing. Those were the two I had here.
Favor of the accounts? Carried. Now that our chair has, I've done ours, what?
You stay there.
You just,
Just you
Take
can
over.
stay there. I can observe you.
I know you. that's the
No, it's
problem.
fine. You're,
No, really, this is your job. come and do
I don't even know where we are.
Okay, fine. Anyway.
7.1.
That report by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant, Public Works, dated December 5, 2023, regarding the 2024 Parks, Recreation and Facilities Fees Schedule be received. That the committee endorses the increased fees and that staff be directed to include the proposed fees in the 2024 Comprehensive Fees Bylaw for council consideration. I have a mover and a seconder. Dean Patterson. What's your name? Sorry. Dean, you should have get over here, Mr. Basie. And seconder. Any questions about these fees?
The one question I had, which at the very bottom, the out of town residential fee that we charge for $7 per person, to me is useless charge, or it's not near enough. Or what it costs us to run the pool and the deficit we run. We think that should be higher.
Chair, if I may. These fees are a suggestion if the committee as a whole feels that we should be charging more specifically to that line. You can amend it and then just pass the motion as amended.
Do we want to, do we know what?
That would be the next question.
Yes, could you have any suggestions on this? You know, how you came up with this amount? And what?
Last year, I believe, was the first year we even had this. So, yeah. Based on the number of people that even register from out of town, because the in-town folk get the first chance, like it's a pretty low percentage of out of town residents that even swim at our pool compared to.
The percentage has come down over the years, especially since we opened up registration to residents only at first. That was essentially a token amount that this committee chose last term. So if it's $5 or $7, then the situation is not enough. We can up it to 10, which would be double what we charged last year. Yes, it is a token amount, but it does help offset the cost of those who don't pay taxes in Plympton-Wyoming.
So, does anybody else have any suggestions about this? Or I'd like to hear some. Raise it. Again, double it from last year, or like, we're not ever gonna break even on this pool anyway.
No, but I know when people go to other sports places, they get charged because they're out of towners. And if we're running a deficit, I'd rather my tax dollars go to our people than to somebody from Sarnia coming in to use our pool. I'm happy with 10 for now, and maybe if we track it, see how many, what the numbers are for next time. After registration, to see if it's, like I say, if it works out to $100.
We have all the, I don't have it in front of me, but we do have like,
I mean, we can,
yeah, the list of like out of town versus in town. It was all in Emma's report too.
Bring that back to the committee for next meeting. However, we have the information in front of us today, so it can help guide you for coming years.
So do we leave it the way it is now? Or do we suggest that? We do the line?
I heard I have a suggestion from,
I make a motion, we move it to 10.
Okay, so,
I think we can proceed with direction right now, but Councillor Basie has suggested increasing that fee to 10. Does anyone have an objection to $10? So by the no disagreements, I presume everyone is okay with $10. So if Chair as amended on the motion, we will know to increase that fee to $10.
okay, so will I write down what the amendment is on this motion? Yeah, okay.
I think the direction is clear, so
Okay.
just as amended would be great.
Okay. Is everybody in favor of this motion as amended? Okay, carried, thank you. The report by Jessica Wilson dated December the sixth, 2023, regarding the mobile food and refreshment booth accepted by the Parks and Recreation Committee and forward to council for final approval. Do I have a mover? And a seconder. Someone? Baby? Discussions? Any questions on it?
Probably not a bad idea to give a summary to some of our committee members, as this has been a council issue up to date. There
Okay.
has been requests in regards to hosting food vendors in our parks. Traditionally, they've only been allowed on private property through a licensing program. We council authorized a trial program with Anita Coffee at Lamrecton Park. It was well received by the public. So based off of that reception and then council's direction to develop a potential list of locations where we can host food trucks on our own properties, we developed this licensing program, or actually more accurately, a tender or RFP program, which includes 4 of our parks: McKay Park, Lamrecton, Lakeshore, and Highland Glen, for potential locations for food trucks. So the bid process would be similar to as a number of other municipalities surrounding us currently use. They would submit a RFP for that location. The minimum bid would be $3,000 per year. So that would be revenue for me.
Just one comment on it. Seeing this is our first time around, we're making them sign up for 3 years. Didn't I ever see that? That's a 3-year contract. That would it be detrimental to us, seeing that nobody has any history? You know, maybe let them go for a year. I'd agree with you, but yeah, I think we might get a higher bid for the first year. But nobody knows, right? So.
Yeah, through the chair, I think the idea around the 3 years was more, it gives the vendor a sense of security that they're gonna have that location for 3 years and they're willing to invest in their equipment and any potential upgrades that they might require, whereas if we only allowed 1 year, they might not want to make that investment.
Good point.
Okay, don't ahead is,
Yeah, one quick question. The last couple of years, we've had the little picnic in the park here, and I've been there with my stuff with the cotton candy. We've done Lamrecton, we've even been branched out to Paradise Valley. They asked us to come in. Where do I stand?
those are special occasions and I don't.
Okay, well, I'm just,
Yeah, no, this is at least for the.
yeah, I understand. I just wanted to clarify because me and Emery are basically kind of semi-retired. So Jennifer, our youngest daughter, and Jolie, our oldest daughter, they're taking it on now.
Mhm.
So, and they have some ideas, and we've actually went out and got a trailer for Jennifer, so makes it easier for her to do this stuff. So she's willing to do the, you know, the 4 or 5 hours in the park, stuff like that. That's what she wants to take on. I just didn't know whether this was going to interfere or cause a problem or.
Well, if she's got, wants to do it in a certain park, then
Yeah.
she would have to fill it up.
Yeah, well, we've been paying, I think it's $100. You know, both times that we done it. I got no problem with that, but just wanted to clarify it so that I can go back and tell her that it was good.
If you're part of a special event, you follow the rules of that special event.
Exactly.
Because the special event itself would have a contract with the town or facility holders. If you wanted to set up your own location at one of these locations, then you would need a bid.
Yeah. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, my only concern with it would be for the options without hydro. I'm just a little nervous about generators running all the time at parks. And I know it would really limit us because we only have hydro available basically in the one park because it's across the street from each other. But personally, I'm worried about parks near houses and parks in general with generators running. So I'm a little nervous about the parks without hydro.
Now, we do have a decibel that they can't go above, but I don't know how loud that decibel is because I'm not familiar with these numbers. So can you explain something there, Paul?
Sure, through the chair. And I did do a little bit of research into this and it'll be difficult for us to prove exactly how many decibels these things are running at, but it seemed to be akin to like a refrigerator running, a compressor on a refrigerator starting 70 decibels. And then we included some language in there that if it did become a public nuisance, that we could address it. So unfortunately, people will require hydro for some of these units and there isn't hydro available at all of the parks. So we didn't want to exclude people, but we were sure to provide some language in there that still provides the town the option of, I guess, dealing with those situations where the noise becomes a nuisance.
Like,
I had the same concerns as Alex. I saw the 70 decibel, but it'd be nice to know where in the park staff was planning on having them located.
Yeah.
I mean, like Highland Glen, there's no houses. McEwen, I'm not sure. I mean, I had a concern about McKay Park because the town put that gravel parking lot in the front, so that's relatively close to a house. So I think it'd be nice to know where they're gonna go, but sure. That's good. Staff will figure that out, but that's was my only concern with it. Where in the park.
Chair, we were asking them to make the proposal of where they would see best fit, and then staff would approve that or suggest a better location if we thought it interfered with the neighborhood or the area. Depending on the size of the truck and what they're doing and parking and that, in the proposal, it asks for their thoughts and then.
Yes, I had a question about we go to pull the license. It's at the region. What happens to their application fee?
is there any explanation?
there. Well, because of, basically it's their fault. They're not keeping up to standards and all that kind of stuff. They don't get to leave and take all their money with them that they haven't paid or get it back. I wouldn't
They
think.
pay ahead of time. So if they pay ahead of time and they're unable to meet the requirements of the medical health officer of health or are on their license, that's their responsibility.
Is it, I didn't see that anywhere.
We have to add the non-refundable piece into the bylaw.
The RFP.
Because I know in the bylaw for fees, it says no license shall be voluntarily surrendered for a refund. There's nothing necessarily in there that it said.
That's for the license fee, not the RFP.
Okay, so I guess my question, because I misunderstood that then in general. So what if we revoke someone's license because in the first month, there's a bunch of complaints that's too loud?
So if there's, and no language in the RFP, we should say something in there for sure that it's non-refundable.
We should probably, language about revocation for failing to meet licensing requirements and no refunds if you were unable to meet the requirements of the RFP.
Yeah, they're two
License or.
different things, but we should say it.
Sorry about that.
Any more questions? Dean?
There are plans in place for these proposed sites for future installation of hydro.
So McKay Park has been talked about numerous times about improving the hydro connections out there. Special events have asked that we look at that. It won't be in this year's budget, but it's definitely something in that additional hydro connections in McKay Park. McEwen and Highland Glen, not likely. There's no readily available hydro access out there. Those are more the remote parks, so depending on where they park their units, they're most sheltered from adjacent properties.
What about Lake Shore? Like, wouldn't it be nice to have some hydro there?
As part of your project, which was approved in the 2023 budget, a hydro connection was a part of that, and it's going to be installed soon, I hear.
This week.
This week?
He installed the hydro onto the pavilion a couple of weeks ago, and there's a 220 that going to be installed on the side of the washroom
Oh, excellent.
for food trucks.
More?
Okay, just building off what everybody said about the, is there a way that we can build it out so it's 1 year with a possible extension for another 1 or 2 years, just so there's an out for the town if it's not working? Just because I know we don't want to do 3 years right off the bat. Is there a way to do something like that?
If we're in the years, this is all a very open discussion. We're not here to look for necessarily a final program. We're looking for your comments, so we can definitely adjust it to have be a 1-year contract with 2 1-year renewals upon mutual agreement of the vendor and,
At the
it
highest,
takes away some of their comfort, but not all of it, because it has to be mutually agreeable. Right.
does the highest bidder get the lease? And what if he sort of?
There is a.
No, there's a head of
Mr.
that.
De Silva can speak to it better. He did write in a review clause into there that looks at more than just financial.
That wasn't in my question, it was more polite. If somebody's gonna be at Highland Glen, where would they be, where would you suggest that they're going to be? You know? Paul, can you answer that? Or you're probably not even familiar with Highland Glen.
I'm not, and when I went to visit it, it was closed at the time, so I
Yeah,
couldn't
there's
tell.
a big cross, isn't there? Yeah. But see, if it's
Did you wanna
near the boat
speak to that?
launch, it's gonna be a little.
My recommendation would be back, we have a set of maintenance gates there leading to the washroom. So in that corner somewhere,
Oh, okay.
you're out of the crowd of the vehicles, boats trying to back in the ramp.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back in the corner.
Maybe actually in the grassed area, not in the park.
Yeah.
Any more questions? So then you've made notes of all these issues, and is that going to come back to us then, or go back to council with all of them?
That's your choice. You can pass the motion as amended, or we can bring it back to you in February. Where is our next meeting?
Oh,
Well,
maybe, yeah. If we're gonna get this out for a request for proposals, we're gonna have to put it out after council approves it in January for a month. And then we're gonna be tight to get them back in and review them, bring them back to parks to approve, and then have the date start.
Why don't you take all these comments and then send it to council? So I can,
Yeah.
so is that all right with everybody? Yeah, so as amended,
As it is, and,
Amended, yeah.
amended,
because they're gonna be bidding on spots,
yeah,
I think, anytime.
okay, so everybody's happy with the way we've handled this and, everybody in favor? Thank you.
just the like,
So. Next one, that the Parks and Rec Committee approved the Kamlaki Athletic Association's request to use the allotted 5,000 for the 2023 year to pay for their outstanding hydro bills from 2022 and 2023 as outlined in their letter. Could I have a motion? Thank you, Mike. Discussions? Mike?
Well. I believe the 5,000 is put in the budget for capital projects and not operating costs, so that's where I have the issue. It's not a $5,000 gift. Right, it's there to help put in water fountains and the stuff that we've used it for, so. I personally don't see using it for hydro is, that's an operating expense. We didn't use it in the past, but once it's that year is over, we can't go back because it's used up otherwise, so. That's my opinion on it. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other opinions? Mike Thompson, you look like you want to say something.
Agree with Councillor.
Alex?
I'm of the mindset, I don't think this is something that the association plans to do every single year. I know that there's been a lot of communication issues between the club and staff and council for the last few years. So I understand the intention of the grant. I understand the intentions for capital, and I have no doubt that the athletic association is gonna continue to move forward, knowing that that $5,000 is for capital projects. I think it's a little less black and white than it seems for what the intention of this money is. So I'm personally in support of allowing this 5,000 to be supporting what they're asking, with the understanding that going forward, there's already been improvements made to communication, for example, between the club and staff. So I don't think we're gonna be in this position again, moving forward. So that's my piece.
Other comments? Comments? Okay, so, did you want to address this at all?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. Councilors, my name is Robert Shortreed. I am the acting president of the Kamloops Baseball Association. So I understand your concerns with the monies that was laid out for special projects and such. Kamloops has come to you before a couple of meetings, one just recently, and we kind of laid out what we would like to see done, and some of the communication issues that you had concerns about, or we had concerns about as well. That is improving, and we're appreciative of that. We didn't do anything with our monies this year. So the monies that were allocated to us, we didn't buy anything. We didn't ask for any special projects. We had a few things that we needed to get fixed as far as safety issues, but we never really spent that money. So I guess what we're looking to see is a little bit of leniency this year with those larger hydro bills, that we can use that grant as basically a one-time deal to get that off the plate, so that we're not looking at a large hydro bill to be paid out, relatively soon. We are a nonprofit organization, and anything that we do, down at the park is obviously the benefit of the kids in the community. Kind of want to keep that going. So I'd love to be able to take back some good news to our membership to say, we've had some help from you guys, and moving forward, then budget ourselves accordingly so that we can handle the hydro situation. We just weren't expecting these big bills coming in on basically all at once.
So.
What is the total that is owing in,
4308,
and that's over 2 years of hydro that hasn't been paid, is that correct?
looks like it. Questions of the Athletic Association?
Because for what it's worth, pretty much $2,000 of that is forgotten charges for 2022. So, I mean,
So to add to that comment, yes, we were not billing the association correctly. So at the end of that, we did catch up on our billing this year, which resulted in a large bill going to the CAA, which has led them to make this request. Although staff agrees that this is a slippery slope and not something we want to do on a regular basis, given that we were catching up on our billing, which put the association in a tougher spot, and they didn't spend those capital allocations. Staff doesn't have any concerns per se with doing it on a one-time basis due to the collective miscommunication.
So what if I don't know if everybody's in favor, or obviously there's a couple there in favor, but if I change this motion to add as a one-time, consider it then, if this were.
Yeah, I was the explanation of the 1900. Our fault. So, and that's been corrected. So. Okay, it's a one-time thing, but we're not. I'll leave it at that.
So
Any more discussion on this or? So would you be in favor if I added this one time only? Yeah, it's Mike Thompson and Dean.
Sure.
Did that change in the motion? Okay, a line in their letter. And I'm just adding in this only being a one-time consideration, okay? So now, are you all in favor of that? Any carried? First, you like to hang around, there's no charge to hang around for the rest of the energy.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just so that I'm aware, when we proceed with doing special projects in the coming year, how do we go about doing that? And do we submit a bill to the township?
The best way to do it would be, when you know what projects you want to carry out, contact Mr. Little and Mr. De Silva and go through the projects with them. They feel that it's benefiting both parties sufficiently, they authorize you to do those projects. And when the work is done, you can either have the vendor bill us directly, or if it's a combination of work that's being done, you can provide receipts and bill invoice the town for the collective work that was done.
So while you're here, we're we going to maybe connect with the CAA to discuss what things were going to happen this year, where I thought we had discussed something like that at one of our staff meetings.
Yes, I think early in the new year after budget is passed, it would be very important for Mr. Little, our operations coordinator, and Mr. De Silva, our works director, to sit down with the athletic association and go through what your wishes are for the year with what funds we have, and work out a plan together, not only for capital projects, but for expected maintenance levels, et cetera. That way, going into the season, you're all aware of what each other are expecting and what we can provide, and hopefully that will
Save a lot of
hiccups.
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah, it's good.
Afterwards, with, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that type of thing?
Sure.
Okay,
Probably gonna target.
Okay. In April, you're really starting to fire up, so we have that
Which would be.
late March.
Late March would be perfect. We do have a couple little outstanding smaller issues that need to kind of get addressed for the ball diamond itself for operational purposes.
yeah, so we'll get together, right? Some parks board, maybe all if they're available, and just so we know what's going on, you know, and you're not doing something that maybe we don't like you to do, type of thing, okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
See.
Thank you for your help. Thank you.
Oh, hold it, Mike, want to say something?
Under new business, I'm gonna be talking about the parks, if you wanna stick.
Okay, sure. Yep.
You probably know more than me.
Any correspondence? Okay, so then this happened in business. Yeah.
Do you wanna take it or do it?
You can, I can add you after.
Just, I guess we've had several complaints about dogs and everything in the ballparks as a free run dog park, which it is not. Don't know if we have,
And all of them are just Kimlaki, mostly.
that's where I'm hearing the complaints.
Okay.
The ones I'm hearing are, yeah, the news that came like.
Somebody running the dogs there, but usually they have, the bag is evident. You know, they're carrying one. I don't know if they use it.
To add to the Councillor Baisey's and Bojan's comments, we do get regular complaints in Wyoming too. Usage as a dog park. You see that the Wyoming minor ball does put their own locks on it, so it discourages a lot of it, but there still has been occasional park usage in those parks as well, which they're not intended for.
Do we have signage up stating that?
Even Wyoming, we certainly do.
I'm like, you do it.
I'm sure there were signs put up there a few years ago. Now, if they were taken down, we can add more, but.
No, you need
They're
to-
still up there.
It's only as good as a sign, but at least you have something to.
We just got something else after we're done.
Oh, okay, but so what, are we doing anything about the dog poop then, or what?
I would hope they're picking up their own dog poop, but
Well, I don't, obviously they're not, or probably people wouldn't be.
Being rather new here, has a dog park ever been explored out that way?
In Wyoming area, it's been a dog explored. They didn't agree where we wanted, where we
About out there.
suggested.
I'm thinking the one across from the campground,
so
whatever that one's called.
it's a good, if through the chair, if I may. Through the chair.
Sorry, yeah, through chair.
My recollection of the history is that the dog park was looked at and then did not move forward. Staff did bring up a potential dog park at Point View Park because we felt it was underutilized and that the adjacent McEwen Park could be the future park. The neighborhood verbally, after hearing me speak that during a meeting, did show their displeasure with that thought. So the surrounding property owners were not in favor of a dog park at that location. And we have not had further discussions in regards to dog parks at this committee level.
Maybe that would be the perfect park. It was,
Yeah, well, I don't think the people there think it's the perfect park. Though. That's nobody does around their own.
again, we want to live by a park if nobody uses it.
Mhm.
So, that park's huge and it's totally underutilized, I think, but.
The only thing is, the ones that would use Kimlaki Ballpark aren't gonna drive up to.
That's what I'm saying, that's kind of where I'm going with this, so I don't take my dog to a dog park, so I don't know. But
May I offer, I was going to introduce you during under new business to our new director of public works, Paul Da Silva, who will be taking over this committee from myself starting next year. One thing that we've been talking about is parks and how to move forward. We've had discussions with myself about what parks are underutilized and what to do with those parks. It was made very clear that we are not to bring up selling any of those parks. So as we live through next year, if Mr. Little, and Mr. Da Silva and myself, the CEO, can look through what our current park situation is. And we can make recommendations of currently owned parks that may be suitable for a dog park, both in the Wyoming and in the Kamlaki area or lakeside area. And then we can bring a report back for this committee to consider and then move to public consultation after you selected potential locations, if that's what it would be appropriate.
Okay, so that's, any other new business? Yeah, Alex.
I just have something to add too. I think Adam and I talked about it at one point, a CO alarm to the canteen. Did that get installed?
Well, we're putting it in, we'll make sure it's installed for the spring.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've talked to Century Fire already.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anything else? Any new business, anybody?
Just that we may have to move the February meeting date.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. You suggested,
I put the 28th, it should have said 29th. That, the Thursday is the 29th.
oh, Thursday, I thought you said 28th, and that's a council meeting.
Yeah. But as of like, 2 days ago, we may have a drainage tribunal meeting and I don't know how long it will run.
The 29th?
Yeah. So if there's another suggestion,
Why do you want to change it?
because
Well, for the tenders to come back in, for the RFP that we just
Yeah.
approved to go to council, we'd have to post it after it went to council in January. We let it run for 3 weeks to a month. Then give staff enough time to review it and score it, and then bring it to you guys to approve. So that people would know where they're gonna be and plan to set up for the April 15th is the opening date for them. So we were looking at pushing back that parks meeting a few weeks.
So what's the matter with the 27th, Tuesday?
Is that you?
nothing, that's,
We were,
No,
yeah,
You
just,
can't do it on the 28th.
Yeah, that's what I'm open to suggestions.
What's wrong with the 20th? Anybody else?
There's a Dimitri.
February 27th.
Changing February meeting to the 27th.
7th, do we not have planning that night?
No, we have it on the
26 is planning.
So I'm in.
There's no meeting in March here, so you could go to the
Oh, that's
first week of
wrong.
March.
There we go. That looks better.
Or the 22nd, is that too soon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, 27th then.
For the 27th, could we have our, is that the next one in for our ball guys? That meeting.
It would be the first one of the year.
Yeah, then we won't get them back for March, April, May, we won't see them till June, so. Be a good time to sit and talk with the whole. If possible, I'd like both together. Only because we always get, you're getting more than I'm getting, or how come they got that? And everybody's sitting here and everybody hears it, then there's no confusion.
Sure.
Why he gets a water fountain and we don't.
Okay, so
And
we're,
it's gonna be, there's not gonna be a whole lot going on in February, so we can do that, we can do that.
especially water fountain. How about February 27th? The next parks meeting rather than. Okay,
Yeah.
we're good. We don't need a motion for that, we just go ahead and. Do we have a closed meeting session tonight? There's one on the agenda here, but I don't see any motions for it, no? Okay, so then we're going to have an adjournment. At the last Parks and Rec Committee meeting of 2024 be adjourned. I have a mover, so don't all put your hands up. And carried, I mean, in favor? Okay, carried. Well done. Just, you guys have been watching this, but I'm not all that